You are Locked On Knicks POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports New York on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, here we go. For a second consecutive night, the Knicks lose to an inferior opponent. On Wednesday, blown out by the Spurs in San Antonio. On Thursday, not much of an effort against the Charlotte Hornets. The 17-win Charlotte Hornets. Hornets beat the Knicks tonight, 115-98. Now, finally, mercifully, the Knicks will return home beginning Saturday to face the Wizards at the Garden. But before we get there, unfortunately, we've got to dissect yet another miserable performance for the Knicks, specifically on defense. Hello, everyone. I'm Jay Berman. If you're a New Yorker, you might recognize my work. Welcome aboard. If not, glad to have you. I've spent more than 2 decades in the biz, everything from TV to web to radio. As always, please follow me on X at Jay Berman, JayBerman. Welcome to the Locked On Knicks postcast, both on the Locked On Sports New York YouTube channel and the Locked On Knicks podcast feed. The postcast gives you a place to hang out after every single Knicks game. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. All right, OG Anunoby led the Knicks in scoring with 25. Karl Anthony Towns chipped in with 24, but obviously not enough. And now the Knicks, 6-game win streak against the Charlotte Hornets, a thing of the past. It is officially history. All that coming up on the postcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your very first purchase. Before we begin, got to let you know, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Knicks Daily Newsletter, one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. All right, as we said, 115-98, the final score. The Knicks, in back-to-back nights, fall to inferior opponents. No other way to put it. The Spurs, struggling, really handled the Knicks last night. The Hornets struggling even more. As we said, they entered play 17-51 with just 10 home wins total on the season. And yep, they handled the Knicks handily, if you will, 115-98. And it really wasn't close late in the fourth quarter. All right, the Knicks are now 3-4 without Jalen Brunson, not counting the Laker game, which they obviously lost. So technically it could be 3-5, but we'll call it 3-4. So things have not been going well without the captain, which of course was as expected. However, through 69 games now, as we've been telling you the last couple of nights, the Knicks still have their best record in nearly 3 decades. Through 69 games, it's their best team record in 28 years. Obviously, no one cares about that tonight. Also, their 5-game win streak in Charlotte is over. And a big reason why, perhaps the disparity in bench points tonight. Now, the Knicks did score 11 bench points, most of them garbage time. Precious with a basket. Anton Watson with a basket. Marshawn Bachot with a basket. And obviously Cam Payne chipped in with 5. But that was it, folks. And by the way, Cam Payne's first 3-pointer, his first basket, his first points came 2 minutes into the fourth quarter. Not a single bench point for the Knicks in the first half. In fact, they have not done that in 5 years. 0 first half bench points. Only 4 Knicks scored in the first half. Again, first time that's happened in 5 years. Just 4 players scored. Obviously, there are 5 starters. Deuce McBride did not score in the first half. He finished with 9. As we said, OG, he's been pretty good of late. In fact, OG and Bridges have really stepped up their game in absence of Jalen Brunson. OG, for the 23rd time this season, has scored at least 20 points. He scored 25 tonight to lead all scorers with LaMelo. We'll get to LaMelo in a second. But again, 24 for Karl Anthony Towns. He also had 10 rebounds. OG had 25 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, a block, and just 1 turnover. However, in the always important plus minus category. You know, we talk about it a lot. OG was a minus 17, by far the worst of any player. And for what it's worth, Miles Bridges of Charlotte was a plus 20, the best of any player on either side. As for our Bridges, Mikal, he pumped in 16 tonight, only took 11 shots, was 5 of 11 from the floor. But the problem tonight, as has been much of the season when the Knicks go sour, is the defense. As we said, Charlotte got plenty of good looks tonight. In fact, they were 15 of 32 from three-point land. And once again, the Knicks three-point defense is just lousy. As we said, 15 of 32. LaMelo had 5 3-pointers. Now, look, he's a chucker. He loves to throw the ball behind his back, but he is dynamic. He is electric. He put up 23 shots to LaMelo tonight, made just 10 of them, but had 25 points in a home game that felt like a road game for Charlotte. Of course, it felt like Knicks South once again in Charlotte, but to no avail, as the Knicks underperformed once again, and they've now lost 3 of 4, 2 in a row, both on the road, both to inferior teams. As we said, San Antonio on Wednesday, and tonight, Charlotte. LaMelo, 10 of 23 from the floor, 5 3-pointers, had 25 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, and just 2 turnovers. So, yes, he's a chucker, throws up a lot of shots, a lot of 3-pointers. 5 of 10 from three-point land tonight. But again, dynamic and a piece that the Hornets will very much want to build around. Deuce McBride, as we said, had 4 field goals, all in the second half, just one of them a 3-pointer. As for the minutes police, they've arrived once again. Mikal Bridges, just 33, so underneath his season average. Josh Hart led all players tonight, playing 39 minutes. What's interesting is Tibbs called off the Dogs roughly 4 or 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and Josh Hart still played 39 minutes. All right, no Mitchell Robinson tonight, did not play the second half of a back-to-back, and that clearly impacted the result tonight, specifically on defense, where Precious Achiuwa, because of no Mitchell tonight, played 17 minutes. We'll get to his numbers. We'll get to the schedule coming up next. All right, with Robinhood Gold, you can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on retirement contributions. The privileges of the very privileged are no longer exclusive. With Robinhood Gold, your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%, plus you also get 4% APY on your cash in non-retirement accounts. That's over 8 times the national savings average. The perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive your 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. So go to Robinhood.com/boost. Over 8 times the national average savings account interest rate claim is based on data from the FDIC as of November 18, 2024. Robinhood Financial, LLC, member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. All right, there's nothing like watching basketball live. The energy of the crowd, the sound of sneakers on the hardwood, and maybe even a celebrity sighting courtside. Well, if you want to catch a game in person, Game Time makes getting tickets easier than ever. Game Time's new feature, Game Time Picks, filters out the fluff and shows you only the best deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time scrolling through thousands of tickets. How about that? I just checked the Game Time app, and there are amazing deals on some huge matchups coming up. Game Time Picks even highlights super deals, giving you the best bang for your buck. With seat views before you buy, no surprise fees, and a lowest price guarantee, you can book with total confidence. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It is game time. All right, final segment of the show. Knicks visit the Hornets in Charlotte, greeted rudely by the hometown, and they lose. 115-98, the final score. As we said, the Knicks lose to inferior opponents on back-to-back nights. Blown out by the Spurs last night, 120-105. More of the same tonight, 115-98. Now, we told you about the schedule. It lightens up just a little bit, specifically because the Knicks finally get to return home. And after they do so, finally get to put together a string of home games. They'll do exactly that beginning on Saturday at the Garden. Now, take note, this is against Washington. That is an 8 o'clock tip time Saturday night. Dallas is in Tuesday, another back-to-back situation, Tuesday, Wednesday, against difficult Western Conference opponents. Dallas on Tuesday, the Clippers on Wednesday, before the Knicks head back out on the road for one game to Milwaukee next Friday, before they return home again for Portland and Philadelphia. So, point is, some home games coming up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 of the next 6 games will be under the bright lights of the big city at Madison Square Garden. All right, Mikal Bridges, as we said, 5 of 11 from the floor, scored 16 points. Not his worst night, but again, the defense was the problem tonight. The Hornets scored the final 12 points of the first quarter, and that really told you all you need to know. The Knicks actually had a 19-15 lead in the first quarter, but as we said, Charlotte scored the final 12 points of the stanza. Knicks went without a basket for the final 5 minutes of the opening quarter, so after a pretty decent start, a couple of basket advantage, well, things just crumbled from there, and again, an amazing stretch of runs for the Hornets. First in the first quarter, the 12-0 run to end the stanza. Then late third quarter, a 13-4 run that didn't necessarily put the dagger into the hearts of the Knicks, but it was close because that kept a double-digit lead a double-digit lead. OG, as we said, the 23rd time this season he has scored at least 20 points. The Knicks did not get to the 30-assist mark. However, for a second consecutive night, they were comfortably out-rebounded. Rebounds on the Charlotte side, 52. Rebounds on the Knicks side, 38. So they were out-rebounded by double figures. Really just not good enough, specifically on the defense from the Knicks. Now, the Knicks are 10-1 this season when Bridges, and that's why we brought him up, exceeds the 25-point mark. Well, he did not do that tonight. As we said, scored just 16, and it's a pretty good barometer of things to come for the Knicks. As we said, Karl Anthony Towns, 10-21 from the floor. OG was 7 of 19 from the floor. OG was 3 of 12 from 3, missed 9 3-point shots. And as we said, the defensive abilities on the 3-point side, not good. The offensive abilities on the 3-point side, even worse. Just 10 of 39. Knicks missed nearly 30 3-point shots tonight, 25% from 3. Again, 10 of 39. The Knicks were just 36 of 90 from the floor, just 40%. That is never, ever, ever going to get it done. So as we said, the Knicks are now technically 3-4 without Jalen Brunson. Who knows when we'll see Brunson, but according to a report, he does have the boot off his foot. So sort of getting into some athletic maneuvers, if you will. Great news that he's not in a boot, obviously not practicing yet, but we'll certainly keep our eyes on that. The Knicks are now 30-9 against teams below 500 with those back-to-back losses to the Spurs, who are comfortably below 500, and obviously tonight, the Charlotte Hornets, who are also comfortably below 500. As we said, back on that horse, the Knicks will be at home to face Washington on Saturday night. On Tuesday will be Dallas. On Wednesday will be the Clippers. And of course, as always, we'll be with you immediately following every single game. All right, your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Knicks Daily Newsletter, one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Knicks newsletter. Of course, want to mention our partners in crime, the All-Stars. Gavin Shaw and Alex Wolf, they handle all the stuff at Locked On Knicks. They're the best, so follow, subscribe, and enjoy. As we said, 115-98, Knicks lose on the road again. New York now 43-26 overall, 21-15 away. And again, Saturday night, 8 p.m. tip time for Washington. Until then, have a great night. We'll see you.